How's it going, everybody? Welcome to today's video. In this one I'm going to show you how I fixed a MacBook for only $10. Let's take a look. Alright, so here's the story of how I fixed a broken MacBook for only 10 bucks, right? So I've been looking for a secondary laptop for a while. You know, I added on a big Acer laptop that's made for gaming, so it's not really that portable, but I've been looking for a secondary laptop to kind of take out and about, take to coffee shops, take when I hang out with friends and all that kind of thing, just to have a general internet connection, internet accessible device that I can do like office type work or respond to email, maybe do a little bit of editing, but just more general tasks, basic tasks, that kind of thing. So I've been looking at laptops, and since I have a tech support background where I've been able to kind of fix and troubleshoot different scenarios on both MacBooks and PCs, I've been looking at laptops that maybe aren't in the best shape or have something wrong with them, right? So MacBooks would be kind of a fun thing to own, right? I don't have a Mac. I've never really used or owned Macs in a long-term environment, so I thought, hey, let's find a MacBook, maybe that's broken and has something wrong with it that we can hopefully fix, and then have a perfectly good laptop for cheaper than it would cost to buy a used one at the same price or even a new one, right? So I've been looking at MacBooks, and most of the ones that had problems or that weren't working all the way were out in for sale for around like the $300, $250 price point. This, I found like a Retina MacBook Pro, the earliest model, for like $350 that had some issues, so I was looking at that. But that's quite the risk for something that you don't know 100% sure that you can fix, right? So I've been looking at laptops like that, but at the same time I thought, maybe I can find something cheaper. So the other day I was browsing Craigslist and found a 2011 MacBook Air for only $150, right? So what's the catch? Well, I did end up buying the laptop. Here's the laptop right here. It's a 2011 MacBook Air, 13-inch. Top spec model, so it has a Core i7, only 4 gigs of RAM they offered that year, but it is the top spec model, so it costs like $1,600, $1,700 brand new. That's 8 years ago now. So I was able to pick it up for $150. And you're thinking, for $150, there's got to be something wrong with it, right? You've been talking about how you want to fix one. Yeah, so there is something wrong with this $150 MacBook, and the only thing that's wrong with it actually is that it doesn't have working Wi-Fi. So the listing did say that it was spilt on a few years ago, and really the only casualty of that spill was that the Wi-Fi is no longer working, right? Which is interesting also because the Bluetooth on the computer works fine, but there's no Wi-Fi. So, well, how did you fix it, right? You can possibly want to buy a laptop that doesn't have working Wi-Fi and only use it with the Ethernet connection, right? So I was able to fix a laptop and actually planned on how I was going to fix it before I actually bought it, because I wanted to make sure that it was something that I could get in 100% working order and wasn't left with like a $150 paperweight, so to speak. So there were two different ways you fix a broken laptop with Wi-Fi, right? So one way, of course, you can replace the card that's in the laptop. And like I said, the card is supposedly semi-functional because Bluetooth does work, but Wi-Fi doesn't. So there's that way, which I did order a used card off a working MacBook, and they're only like $5, so that's a no-brainer that way. But I said I fixed it for $10, so what did I do? Well, there's these little devices out there, these little USB devices that can bring Wi-Fi to a computer that doesn't inherently have Wi-Fi in it already, right? So like I said, most of the laptops in the last, like 8-10 years have Wi-Fi built into them, but if you're using a laptop that's older, or for instance in this one it breaks, they're kind of a good way to bring backup Wi-Fi to a computer. So the device itself is really small, as you can see here. Only like the size of a USB flash drive, even smaller, and it did only cost me $10, so that's how I fixed a laptop for $10, right? But the only downside to kind of adding one of these things to the laptop is that you lose a USB port. So I'd hopefully be able to fix the issue internally with that new used card that I have coming. But if for some reason I don't, I was hopefully planning on still having a working laptop, and in this case it does work. So after updating and running software updates and making sure everything's worked out with the software and the hardware with this new addition to the USB port, I was able to get a fully functioning 2011 MacBook Air. It does have Wi-Fi, works, everything else works like it should, for only $150 plus the $10 Wi-Fi adapter. Now, what am I going to do with this laptop? Am I going to keep it? Am I going to sell it? Well, I've tossed around both ideas, right? So I only have $160 into the laptop, but they do go for like $250, $300, the same model, fully functioning on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or eBay even for that matter. So I think I could actually do a pretty good job of selling the laptop. It is fully functioning. Of course, there is a little caveat that you are using a USB port, but I can't imagine people use all their USB ports all the time anyway. And of course, you can get a hub to use the one available USB port and add some ports that way. So there is ways to kind of still plug in all your devices, even though there's only one functioning port. So you can take care of that issue that way. But that's really the full story when it comes to how I fixed a broken MacBook for 10 bucks. I'm into the laptop $160 now. Like I said, it cost like $1,700 brand new back in 2011 because it is a top spec model. But that's the story. Thanks for watching today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment below if you want to see another story like this. If I should flip the laptop and buy another project, there'd be another way to make a good YouTube video. So thanks for watching again. Have a great day.